Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the podcast. Today we have a special guest, and it is my cousin, Anil Patel. He's sat right here with me today. And yeah, me and Anil, we grew up together in the 90s, and yeah, we've remained related since. um, yeah, so Anil is right here with me today, and I'm going to bring him on. So
Hello. Glad to see we're still related.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, and thanks for coming on today. I went to bring you on today because this is quite a rich topic to talk about, and the first portrait that I did, where I got to know the person's story, was our bar.
Yeah.
Where I sat with bar and got to know her story, and she went all the way back to her origins, she went all the way back to where she was born, and then all the way through to growing up in India, to moving to the UK, having our parents, and then how we arrived into the world, and just learnt that story from her own words. And that was the first time. Well, it wasn't a business at that point. It was literally me just being really curious about learning about our family story, and that's now evolved into something that I'm offering as my business. And what better way to introduce this formally and more officially than with you, my cousin, who's part of the story as well, So
yeah, great to be on.
Yeah, have been doing your storybook for the past 2 years now, and started with bar, and then it's evolved, hearing people's stories, share their vision for the future, and then illustrating their vision. And I've been guiding them through that process, and now I've landed in a point where it's already a service, but I wanted to just pause for a second and actually introduce it more formally.
Yeah, you call it a storybook, but it's not just a simple piece of paper, is it? So what specifically is it?
Yeah, it's a way to help people to see themselves clearly, and also to see what is next. And it's a handcrafted book that captures your essence, but it's also your vision and your voice. What I do is I deeply listen to the person and then reflect that back in the form of art and storytelling to help you stand in your story and then move forward with clarity. Within that, it's that whole deep listening process of holding that space for someone where it's just me and the other person, and that person has got the space to express where they came from and what is their vision for the future. So it's that whole story, and then being able to walk their story before they actually live it for real.
So because you create like a safe space basically, because they need to show that vulnerability for you to be able to capture those details, right? Okay. So why is it important?
It's for the moment when you know something is emerging, and you just need that space to let it out. And having that space is so important, because instead of being with the head, you're in your body and you're feeling it. And just like you say there, that space to be vulnerable, you need that space in order to just to really drop into it and be like, oh, cool, like, where am I going from here? And that's why it's really important.
What you mentioned earlier, just in terms of the importance of it, you said it helps people to visualize. What's it helping them to visualize?
Put it in the context of a business owner. You've been in your business now for 2 years. Prior to that, you were working in another role. You were actually working in another career path. Prior to that, you were education, so at university. Prior to that, you were being a kid, and it's actually going back through that journey and reliving that path. And by rewalking that, then it's like looking into the future, like this is where you are today, this is your day to day, this is, let's say you've got a family, this is what your family life looks like, and this is your how your business looks on the day to day. But actually just pausing in that moment and being like, okay, if I could just pull myself out of this and look into the future, what am I seeing for myself, and what am I seeing for the growth of my business? Like, what's the impact I'm having? Like, who am I surrounding myself with? And being able to really paint that picture of what that is and what that looks like. And once you've got it out of you, you might be like, actually, that's not what I want. But it's the fact that you've actually got it out of you and you've got it in front of you means that you can walk towards it.
Yeah, so it's a really good opportunity for you to pause, step back, reflect, and reprioritize where you're going in the future.
Yeah.
To sit with your values and your priorities.
Yeah. And the way that I do it as well is there's no right or wrong answer. You know, like everyone's got their own way of visioning, and there's that's the beauty of life. Like we've all got our own opinions and ways of doing things, and that's what I really see myself as, is someone who's championing that person. And just by having that from end to end, that's where I started, that's where I'm going. And you can see like a direct line from when you were a kid all the way through to where you are now.
Yeah.
Linking all the way back to the story with Bar, like can draw a direct line from her growing up in India all the way through to us being like born and living our lives, and you're a father now, and the way that there's a direct line to from where you started to where life is now. And it's helping people to just pause in that moment and be like, you've got everything right here.
Yeah, and just connect those dots.
Yeah, connect those dots. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
why now?
Because you can't wait for that perfect version of yourself to appear, and you are here to live your life, and your storybook helps you mark that shift and trust your path and walk your path in a way that feels true to you. That whole thing of just pausing in that moment, it's so easy to get caught up in your own thoughts and your own mind, and if you don't pause and reflect, it's easy just to go with how you've always done things.
Yeah, it's so easy to just get caught up in life and just do and not take that time to pause and reflect and then actually reprioritize.
Yeah.
So what's the process? What's your process?
My process is super simple. It's in 3 steps. So step 1 is sit down and have a deep listening conversation where I hold the space and we reflect from where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. And the length of that session can vary. I typically do it for 60 minutes, but like some clients want longer, so we do have longer as well, which we can discuss when we have our introductory call. And I keep it nice and juicy because like within that we go on a journey. I then sketch notes and draw as they're sharing, and then after the session I then translate the vision into an illustrated journey. The 3rd step is packaged up into a book, which is digital, and it can be printed as well. And it's a book then you've got as a keepsake, and you can revisit it and also share with others as you evolve. So it's going to help to communicate yourself more clearly, and it also becomes an anchor point for people to just to feel anchored to something. Like you might be having a bad day, you might be going through a period of time where you're not sure where, like what your purpose is. You've got this thing to come back to. You're preparing for a talk you're about to give. Like just give you something to look back on. Okay, cool. Like I'm clear on what my vision is, or I'm clear on where I'm going. I'm clear on what my purpose is. It also becomes that point. Yeah, like I have done all this, and just really remember yourself in your journey.
Yeah, it becomes a really great anchor point.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've mentioned the digital book. So what exactly do you get?
Yeah, so you get it's a one offer, and you can do as many of you as you want. So some clients do your storybook like once, and they'll maybe visit in a year from now. As some clients do back to back. So I've had a client who actually did it every 2 weeks for a 3-month period. I've had another client who just did it once, and conversation with them to maybe do it again. So it varies from client to client. Yeah, so you get one illustrated story packaged into a digital book, which can be printed. And then there's optional extras, so which can be costed as people want them. So optional extras are printed books, podcast session to share your story publicly, which I host on my podcast, a follow-up reflection session, and yeah, so what you get is clarity on who you are now.
Yeah.
That's the real benefit of this.
Okay.
And you've been through that journey of expressing it out, and when people go through that process and let things out, things are messy, and the whole point of this book is to tighten all that up, coming from your voice, and you've gone through the process, and you leave the process at the start feeling a bit messy and unsure, to then feeling cool, like I'm super clear on who I am and I know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah. So what's the financial benefit?
Having that clarity means that you can move forward with conviction, and it just saves you so much time because you're not kind of going in different directions. You know specifically where you're going.
Yeah, I suppose that clarity helps because you're going to move forward knowing that you're working in line with what you truly value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. So what's the investment?
I'd say it's in between a coaching session and branding process, and in between that you're getting something personal, but you're also getting something tangible, and you can see it, and that piece is timeless because it's come from you. So the price reflects the depth of the engagement and also the optional extras. So like depending on how much time we spend together, that would inform the depth of the book that you receive. And then the optional extras, like if you wanted a printed copy, if you wanted a podcast session.
And what's the financial benefit to the individual? What's the financial benefit for them?
Yeah, like the financial benefit is it brings ultimate clarity on who they are, and very much an internal piece. Just to mention, I'm also doing a storybook for sole traders, which is very much focused around brand messaging and how you communicate your business, whereas this is very much a internal vision piece. And if you're really clear on your internal vision, it just helps you show up more confidently. Just by being in that, you just attract the right opportunities. So it's that's the real financial benefit. It's like all of a sudden, if you've just got ultimate clarity, you've almost like moved this fog away from you, and then by having that clarity, you can just move forward and knowing exactly where you want to go.
To me, it sounds like it's a really good opportunity for an individual, any individual, to be able to remove the mask. We all wear masks, especially in work. We all wear masks, and if you can remove your mask to show who you truly are, in line with who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, what your values are, that ultimately is what's going to give you your confidence and conviction for someone else to believe in you and back you.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, that unmasking.
Yeah. So what's the first step?
Yeah, so the first step would be just a conversation where we'll explore what's shifting in you and how your storybook can help you see and walk your path forward with clarity. We started the conversation talking about Bar being the first person that this was done for.
Yeah.
And
that was a starting. That was the bit that's giving you clarity on what you wanted to do going forwards. And look at you now, like that's where your starting point with this all started, and look where you're taking it now.
Yeah.
Look at the clarity it gave you, even though you were doing it for someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think on that as well, it's like it breathes into that, doesn't it? Like, yeah, thanks for saying that. And I think it breathes into our ancestors' walk with us.
Yeah.
You know, like this started with Bar, but like Bar's on this journey with us. And I think that's also a bigger message to everyone out there as well is your stories, you live in your stories every day. And just having that moment just to stop and reflect and pause, kind of realized how much you've actually gone through and experienced.
Yeah, just how far you've travelled.
Yeah, and only you can travel your path.
Yeah.
So I like to finish with, yeah, the future is unwritten, and let's write yours together. And lastly, just as we talk about writing futures, how are you feeling about your future?
Absolutely fine. I have 2 beautiful girls at home that will drive me crazy. So,
all right, thank you very much, Anil, and thank you very much, audience, for tuning in today. If you are interested in your storybook, yeah, I'll be sharing the website and my email address in the show notes. So please check them out. And yeah, until next time.